Your team manual is useless. I know that sounds harsh to say, and you've probably spent hours and weeks and days perfecting it, but the truth of it is, the old way of going through materials, reading books is not applicable to today's generation. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an AI tool that you already have in your resources that you probably don't even know about. We're going to go through things like how do we digitize our standard operating protocols? How do we create training libraries and playbooks for our teams that they actually want to use? How do we create a learning experience for them that is AI forward, easy to set up and create in very little time? I'm really excited to show you this today. I've been really excited diving into it. And like I said, this is a resource that you already have at your fingertips. The first thing that I want to show you is how to use this tool. The tool is called NotebookLM, and it lives right inside of your Google Workspace. It's something that's already available to you if you have Workspace. So what we're going to do here is when you're logged into your Google Workspace, you can come right over here to where you find your apps, right? And if you scroll down into the app section, you're going to find Notebook, right? So it's called NotebookLM. Once we click into NotebookLM, in here we're going to see any notebooks that we have already created, and we can also create a new notebook. I am not kidding when I tell you how easy this is to set up and how quickly we can do it. You'll see here in just a second. So what we're going to do is create new notebook. And the first thing is we're going to name our notebook. So if I wanted to create a playbook, a training library for a financial coordinator, then we're going to just call it, maybe we call it FC Playbook. Okay. And you, right from the screen, you can upload files, connect YouTube links, other websites as a resource. If you've got things stored in your drive, you can connect your drive to it. And the beauty about NotebookLM is it's really a contained language model, right? So rather than things like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever LLM you are currently using, NotebookLM is only going to pull from the knowledge that you give it. It is not going to go searching Reddit or Wikipedia or other random websites for information to include. It is only including what you give it. So you really have that containment to guide it exactly as you want, which is really amazing. So in here we've got our FC playbook, and we've uploaded our different materials in here. Then what we can do, right, once we've added the different sources into this project, we have the ability to create podcast style learning. We have the ability to create, and when I say create, I mean auto generate, right? We have the ability to auto generate quizzes and flashcards and slide decks and reports and video overviews, right? It's really endless in what we can do here, which really gives us a more comprehensive learning platform for team members. And this is just one use case, right? We're really only talking today about how we can use this to train, onboard, cross-train, ensure we have quality assurance across different team members, right? That's one use case, but there's really endless possibilities in how we can use NotebookLM. So again here, right, we've got our financial coordinator notebook, and I've uploaded my training SOPs into this notebook that I've spent 12 years building as a orthodontic consultant. So in here you can see audio overview. And when we click on audio overview, it's going to take about 2 to 3 minutes to generate this podcast style learning. And let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so we've generated the audio overview, and now we're going to click into this orthodontic financial operating system.
We are diving into a document called the Financial Operating System 2026. And this is not some high-level manual. It is the detailed procedural Bible for managing the really complex finances, the billing, the patient accounts, everything inside an orthodontic practice.
Okay, so incredible, right? And that's just one voice. And you'll see here on my screen that this has 2 hosts. So it is going to be podcast style learning. It's going to be 2 people talking back and forth. And it really doesn't end there. So if I want to interrupt this podcast, right, I get to be an on-site guest in this podcast that can raise my hand and say, hey, what do I do when an insurance policy is terminated mid-treatment before the benefit has completely paid out? And then it's going to say, oh, great question, Lindsay. Here's how I would handle that, right? So let me give you an example of how that works. Okay, so what you can see here is we now have podcast style learning. We've generated the audio for this. We have 2 hosts that have joined this podcast and are speaking. And what's really great about this too is I can join this podcast and ask these podcast speakers questions. So as it's playing with this button down here,
System built around.
I can just simply click join.
Join in. What's up?
And now it's connected to my audio. So I can say, hey, you guys, thanks so much for having me here. Hey, I have a question. What do I do when an insurance is terminated mid-treatment?
That is a critical question.
And it is one that the Financial Operating System 2026 addresses directly because it happens all the time.
Here's the protocol for when a policy is terminated before the account is paid in full.
Okay, let's unpack that.
The first step is immediate.
Okay, so you see it's going to go into the full protocol based on what I have. But I mean, what a fun way to actually learn your systems rather than reading a 47-page dusty binder that's living on your shelf, right? That is not how people are learning. And if we can create these really fun experiences with them, it just changes the entire way we operate, right? So not only are we changing the way that we are learning and onboarding, but we're also changing the way and at the speed at which we're creating these materials, right? So again, we can talk in another session about how to create SOPs in 60 seconds, right? Because maybe you don't even have SOPs to upload into this project, but if you do, this is what we want to. This is the end result, right? We want to create these notebook LMs for each area of our team to just make a really fun experience. Okay, so that was the podcast style learning. That is just one aspect of how we can use NotebookLM. Let me show you a couple of other ways that we can create learning tools for our teams. Okay, so back inside the Financial Coordinator Notebook, we did the audio overview. Now I'm going to show you flashcards, right? So in our flashcards, we click on flashcards here, and again, it's going to take 1 or 2 minutes to populate our flashcards. But then when we click on flashcards, now we have our flashcards that walk us through, again, all of the standard operating protocols that we've built into this knowledge base. So right here's a question. What is the first step when entering any new patient contract in Dolphin Management? And if we click on the other side, it's going to give us the answer. We can go through our flashcards here and help our financial coordinators learn. Other things that we'll see in here too, right, is a quiz. So if we want to quiz ourselves to see how well we actually know these things, we can generate our quiz, and it's going to look like an interactive quiz, right? So when a patient has 2 insurance coverages, how is the primary coverage determined according to the general guidelines? And based on whether we select the correct answer or not, it's going to guide us along, right? So this is going to go through a whole quiz. A couple of other great features inside of NotebookLM is we've got slide decks. So we can create a full presentation based on the information we give this. So you can only imagine how easy it is to actually create presentations now based on material and information that you already have. We also have a mind map. So the mind map is also a really cool feature here. Let's go ahead and click on that and I'll show you what I mean. I've clicked on mind map. It takes a couple of minutes to generate, just like they each do. And when we click in here, right, we're going to see this full mind map built out that we can click into, right? So the more we click into it, the more we're going to see. Here I clicked on contract setup inside of my financial operating system. And if I want to see how to set up a contract with insurance, right, it's going to generate these things here. And the more we click in, the more information it's going to give us. So it layers in the information. Again, just a fun feature. I think the podcast style learning is one of my favorites because there's not really anything else out there like that can do it. And I mean, again, the key takeaway here is this is a tool and resource that is already living inside of your Google Workspace that you really don't have to pay extra for. So why not go for it? If you're interested in learning more about how AI can work inside of your practice and move beyond the hype and have somebody who's really filtered and tested all of the tools, I would be happy to have a conversation with you or have you join my upcoming group coaching program. You can email me, Lindsay, Lindsay, @heartwisecollective.com.